Welcome to the Outdoor Biz podcast, where each Tuesday, your host, Rick Sayes, gathers around the mic with outdoor industry entrepreneurs, brand leaders, founders, and enthusiasts to share stories from the backcountry, the startup files, and the retail aisles. Rick's guests offer actionable advice to land your ideal industry gig, grow your outdoor career, or plan your next big adventure. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And now, here's Rick.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 335 of the Outdoor Biz podcast. If learning to sail is on your bucket list, you'll love this episode with Nautilus Sailing founder Tim Geisler. Tim tells us how Nautilus Sailing came to life, what learning to sail is like with Nautilus, and shares a success story of someone who began with no skills and is now a proficient sailor. Hey Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, morning, Rick. It's an honor to be on the show.
It's great to be talking to you. I think you're the first actually official sailing person I've had on the show. This is going to be fun. I don't sail. I'd love to learn. Maybe I'll have to take you up on a course, but this is going to be a fun conversation.
Fantastic.
Somebody's got to be first, right?
There you go.
So I always start off with, how were you introduced to the outdoors and sailing? What developed your love for the outdoors?
Yeah, my parents were super adventurous, Rick. They actually were global nomads, and both of them in their kind of late teens and early 20s. They traveled around Europe and North Africa and the Middle East in Volkswagen vans for a couple of years.
Wow.
They actually met in Lebanon in the middle of the 6-Day War. And they were travelers, and they decided to move to Morocco. So I was actually born in Morocco, lived in Morocco till I was 10, and then moved to southern Spain and lived in Andalusia in southern Spain. And during that time, my parents were just all about adventure. So we would spend every possible vacation we had. We'd be camping. My dad would get these crazy ideas like, why don't we drive across the Northern Sahara? So we'd drive across the Northern Sahara, or we would go up in the summertime. My dad was an English teacher at the university there in Morocco. And so he had the whole summer off. So we pretty much would leave as soon as he was finished in June. And we would spend 2 to 3 months driving up all through Spain and Portugal, visiting beaches, checking out mountains, make our way up to France and Italy and Switzerland. And so we basically just camped as a family and hiked and just did these amazing adventures. So I was fortunate to have a really cool childhood. And then when I moved to Southern California for school and I became an avid surfer, just caught the bug. Some buddies and I just started traveling around the world. And so we surfed a lot in Mexico and then Costa Rica and Nicaragua, El Salvador. And then we moved on to bigger places like Tahiti and Indonesia, and just really had just the travel bug and just loving to get off the beaten track. And at that point, it was interesting. My perception of sailing, which I think probably a lot of people have, I really didn't know what sailing was about. I pictured a bunch of older white gentlemen in their kind of blue blazers sitting at a yacht club sipping G&T, or I pictured a bunch of kids bobbing around in a crowded, polluted bay in these tiny little boats with no wind, or you picture the guy buffing the teak on his beautiful sailboat every weekend. I thought none of those really seemed very exciting to me. And I happened in my mid-20s, I went out to the Bahamas and I was doing a scuba diving course out there, getting PADI certified. And the last day of the trip, the scuba school said, hey, we've got this beautiful sailboat. Does anybody want to go sailing for the day? And I thought, sure, why not? And so I hopped on this boat and we just sailed off to this beautiful little island. We were just hauling across turquoise waters. We anchor off this white sand beach. And this Bahamian gentleman, the guy with dreadlocks, he's like, man, you want lobster? And I was like, sure. So he jumped off the back of the boat and about 20 minutes later came back with 2 huge lobsters and threw them on the grill. And that's when the light bulb went off, Rick. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this sailing thing is pretty darn cool. You could really use this as just your platform for adventure. And so at that point, just all these ideas were flashing in my head thinking I could sail around the world and surf and spearfish and explore beautiful places. And so that was my first taste of sailing. And from there, I went back to Southern California, and within a couple of weeks, I was signing up for a sailing course.
Wow, that's amazing. So were your parents, they're pretty adventurous. How were their parents adventurous? How did that? That's traveling like you guys did. That's amazing. No, I want your life. Awesome. Really, a lot of people would sign up for that tomorrow.
It's interesting to think about it, Rick, because my dad grew up in Southern California, very traditional family, grew up near Venice Beach and then near Santa Barbara. And his parents, they'd never traveled. They'd never been out of the country. And then my mom was from a typical middle-class family in Washington, D.C. Dad was a contractor. And they both just got the bug. My dad didn't go to college. He just decided to go traveling. My mom did a couple of years in college and then took off traveling. So they just, they were unique and very different. Yeah. It's definitely something you can grow up with.
Yeah. What did they do for work? How did they pay for all that?
when they were traveling, they realized, wow, we want to stay living overseas. And so my dad became an English teacher in Morocco. He had to go back to the States and he got his master's degree in teaching English there for a couple of years and then went back to Morocco. And then while he was in Morocco, he learned languages amazingly quickly. And so he spoke French and Arabic. And then he got offered a job to run a media company that basically it was a TV company that made shows in Arabic. And there just weren't many TV stations, but they were based out of Spain. So that's why we moved to Spain. And then when I graduated and left, they ended up moving to Provence in southern France, which was cool. So yeah, they've had a really cool and unique life.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. What great experiences for all of you guys. That's fantastic. So your headquarters are in Colorado. How often are you there? It sounds like we were talking earlier. It sounds like you bounce back and forth a bit.
Yeah, I'm fairly busy with travel. I'm gone usually about 140 to 160 days of the year. I'm on the water somewhere. And when I'm not on the water, then I'm back in Colorado. And it's people go say you're a sailor and you live in Colorado, but it's one of those things, Rick. I spend so much time in beautiful islands and tropical places. I love coming home to the mountains, just to come back in the wintertime to go snowboarding and skiing, and in the summertime to mountain bike and fly fish and camp and hike and all that. I feel pretty lucky.
Yeah, you get to do the best of all of it. That's awesome. I miss the ocean part of it. Yeah, that's very cool. So how did you come up with this idea for a sailing school? I get that you came back and you wanted to sail, but where did the idea for the school come from?
Yeah, great question. My wife and I were teachers in Southern California for many years. We taught in inner city LA in our 20s. And when I learned how to sail, I went down to the local sailing school in Southern California, and I had 8 different instructors over 2 years, Rick. Ooh. And I basically would show up every Sunday for about 2 or 3 hours. We'd take a boat out, come back to the dock, and it took me 2 years to get the certification that I wanted to be able to charter and rent sailboats internationally. And the 8 different instructors I had, all of them were great sailors. Most of them were older gentlemen, probably from 65 to 80. And sadly, even though they were amazing sailors, they just didn't know how to teach. And so the first couple times on a boat, we just had guys just yelling at us, "Don't touch that. What are you doing? That's not how you do it." And it was just, we were just terrified. And so it was not a very good experience. And at the same time, my wife and I were teachers in inner city LA. I had a master's degree in education. I trained new teachers. I was helping design an experimental education program. And so we knew what real education should look like. So that was a part of our life. From there, I moved on to international project management. And years later, I had a chance to reinvent ourselves during the crash of 2008. I lost my job in international project management. We said, hey, what should we do in life now? And we kept coming back to sailing, and we had sailed all over the world at this point, and our best vacations every year were those spent on a boat. We just loved getting away from the crowds and being able to be in control of your vacation. We're like, hey, let's go to that island, or let's go there. There was something beautiful about that. And at that point, we're like, how about we try starting a sailing school that's based on best educational practices? So we thought about that. And then the other component of it, the way I learned how to sail, Rick, I had to go to a coastal city every Sunday for 2 years. Yep. And who has that kind of time? Yep. What about people that live in Colorado or places like this that are landlocked? Where are they supposed to learn how to sail? So we realized there was a place for these courses that were called liveaboard sailing courses. And these were basically 1 week intense courses where you fly to a beautiful destination somewhere in the world, some tropical island. You're on a boat for a week and you just get immersed in the sailing lifestyle. And during that time, you earn your certifications, you gain the experience. And then after that, you can embark on your own sailing journey. And so that was our vision and just how we came to start a sailing school.
You pulled it off. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty smart, because even if you are landlocked, it just doubles the expense of going to learn how to sail, because then you got to get to the coast, stay there for a week or two.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, good on you. Is it just you and your wife, or do you have other instructors? Where do you find other instructors?
No, so right now we have a team of 11 instructors. Okay. And we're unique in that we operate in a premium space, Rick, where we really want to give people an incredible life-changing experience. And to do that, we need to find the best instructors. Mm-hmm. We have instructors that are based all over North America. We actually have one that's based in the Caribbean and one that's actually based in Europe. And we fly them into our destinations for the week-long course. That way that we can really guarantee that they're getting an amazing instructor, an amazing teacher, and they're getting somebody that's fun to spend a week with, right? If you're going to be on a boat for somebody with a week, you want to enjoy the time. And so we've been fortunate that as a premium brand, we attract instructors. So we get lots of folks that hear about us, they come to us, and then via word of mouth and referrals, we're really able to weed folks out and really get the best of the best.
And what kind of school does that look like for them? It's a week-long school. It's actually the course that they're going to teach. Is that what you basically do?
Yeah, and so most
it's like
of our
guide school, river guide school, probably.
There you go. Most of our instructors, Rick, they're coming in. They already have tons of sailing experience. So the component that we really want to focus on is the educational component, and that's where, from my teaching and education background, it's strong on that. So usually, what we do is we go through a long interview process with them. I do some educational training on just how do you teach different learning styles, how do you people build up to where they need to be, and then all of our instructors go through a rigorous 1-week course where they basically come down with me and they shadow me on one of these liveaboard courses, and they get a chance to see how do we teach, how do we structure it, how do we pace things, when do we do what. And so we really want to help them just be successful. And the other neat thing about that is it just helps us, all of our courses, whether you go and learn to sail with us in Tahiti or Mexico or Mallorca, Spain, or on the Grenadines in the Caribbean, you're going to have the same experience. And so it's the best way of doing it, in our opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's exactly like a river guide school. And I would imagine it makes your instructors pretty interchangeable, too. If somebody goes down in the Bahamas, you can send somebody over there because they know how everything works.
Exactly. And it keeps it interesting, exciting for them. But 1 week, they go to Tahiti for a couple of weeks, they go home, rest a couple of weeks, and the next time they're in Spain or they're in Croatia or something like that. And so it keeps some variety for them.
That's awesome. And tell us about your customers. Where do most of them come from? All over the world?
Most of our clients are from North America.
Okay.
But pre-pandemic, about 30% of our clients were Canadians, and we love Canadians. Canadians are adventurous, flexible, easygoing. They love to travel. Right. So that's most of our folks. We do get a few folks from Europe and Australia and places like that. When we first started the sailing school, Rick, at the time, the American Sailing Association, which is the umbrella network that we're underneath, 82% of all the people that learned how to sail were over the age of 65. Wow. And so when we started this, we thought, that's great, but what about younger people that want to go surf or kiteboard or spearfish or rock climb or do these amazing trips? And so we really positioned our brand. We wanted to cater to a younger demographic. And so the sweet spot that we've settled in is most of our clients are 35 to 55 years old. We do get some younger folks, but usually when you're in your 20s, it's hard to have the disposable income to do a big trip like this. And then as folks get older, it can just be more challenging just with physicality on a trip like this. So yeah, our sweet spot is 35 to 55, but really we'll take anybody who's adventurous and wants to learn.
If you can walk, come on down.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how long does it take someone to be able to sail solo? And after that week, can they just take the boat out by themselves?
They can. So that's the goal.
Wow.
People come into our courses, and all the time when they're signing up or they contact us, the first question is always, hey, I don't have much sailing experience. Maybe they've been on a Hobie Cat or something small like that, but they haven't sailed much. You're like, how much do I need? And we tell people our goal is to be able to take total newbie, somebody who doesn't have much sailing experience, to feeling comfortable sailing and operating a 40 to 50 foot boat after a week. Wow. And so it's an intensive course. We're busy from about 8 in the morning, Rick, till 3 in the afternoon. We're doing drills. We're learning about all the systems on the boat. We're learning navigation and troubleshooting and all these different things. And then once the anchor goes down at 3 o'clock, that's when playing begins, where you can go paddleboard and spearfish.
Right.
Yeah, it really is great. It's a great classroom. And so, with that, people can go from, in 1 week, they can go from not knowing much. And at the end of the week, we love seeing kind of those aha moments when at the end of the week, we tell students, hey, your goal is to go navigate that island or sail us over there. And they're raising sails and trimming sails and dropping the anchor and docking and all that. And then most of our clients go on, and within a couple months, they're doing their first charter, their first rental on a boat somewhere internationally around the world, which is just a beautiful thing to see for us.
That's awesome. So when they leave your course, do they have some kind of a certificate that shows they're capable of renting that boat?
They do. And so to be able to rent boats, there's a couple of components. You have to have the experience, and then you also have to show like a private pilot's license in the aviation world. Right. You have to show some formal certification just to show, hey, we've been through a course, we've checked off these boxes. And so we operate through the American Sailing Association, and they're the largest sailing certification entity in the world. And so we basically, at the end of the course, our students have these credentials. They can go anywhere in the world and say, hey, I've been certified through the ASA. I've got the experience, and they can start chartering boats.
That's very cool. And do you guys also rent boats, or do you just do the school?
No, we do not. We just do the training, but we are actually we're affiliated with the largest charter company, and the charter companies are the ones that rent boats. We're affiliated with them. They're called Dream Yacht Charter, and they basically have 1,200 boats in 65 countries. And so we are their official sailing school. So when you come through our course, and basically you can turn around and say, hey, I want to rent a boat in Croatia, or I want to go to Tahiti, or I want to go to the Seychelles or the Maldives or wherever it is. And you can actually get a discount through them, and you can do your first charter with them.
That's very cool. That's awesome. You get the one-stop shop, right? We'll teach you, and then we'll tell you where you can go, all the places you can go, and hook you up. And
that's it. We try to make it easy, Rick.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Yeah. We're going to take a little break and give some love to our sponsor, Thrive Market. Think organic groceries are too expensive? So does Thrive Market. They guarantee savings on healthy groceries and home essentials delivered. How? It's easy. They work directly with the best organic brands, so you get the highest quality products without the big retail markups. Shop everything from pantry essentials to sustainable meat and seafood to non-toxic cleaning supplies. And save up to 30% on your favorite products. Choose a free gift up to $24 in value when you purchase a Thrive Market membership. 1 year and 1 month memberships are available. Go to ricksays.com/Thrive Market and get your membership today. That's ricksays.com/Thrive Market. Now, back to the show. Do you have a particular unique success story of someone who started with no skills, maybe even a little bit timid, and is now a proficient sailor?
Yeah, we get
you probably have a lot of success stories like that.
We really do. The one that comes to mind back in March, I had a chance to do a course, and we only take 4 students on our courses. And two of the students were a couple from British Columbia, from Victoria. He was an anesthesiologist. She was a stay-at-home mom, and they had 3 young kids, I think all under 8 years old. And they just dreamed about sailing, and they wanted to start chartering. And then eventually they were thinking, hey, it'd be really cool to take a year sabbatical and sail through the Caribbean with our kids. And so I taught them how to sail in Mexico, just had an absolute blast, really neat couple, learned really quickly, really enjoyed it, very adventurous. And I got an email from them a couple weeks ago, and they just said, hey, Tim, we just did our first charter. We went back to Mexico. We were terrified. We were worried about how it was going to go, but we had an absolute blast. Our kids loved it. And they said, now we're going to Tahiti in November. Can we talk to you about Tahiti and where we need to go? And so we started talking about that. And then I just got an email this week, and they said, hey, now we're planning our vacation already for next year, and we want to do the Bahamas. Can you talk to us about the Bahamas sometime? It's just really cool to see somebody like that who went from not knowing much, and now it's changed the vacations for their families. They are just so excited about sailing, and this is what they want to keep doing as a family.
Yeah, and that'll change the lives of everybody in the family, not only the vacation, but I'm sure like any vacation like that where it's active, you learn so many other things about your family and yourself and the world, and that's fantastic. Yeah, and
those kids, what lucky kids, right? To grow up sailing in these beautiful countries around the world. Amazing.
Right. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So this next question I might need to change. You typically ask what other outdoor activities people participate in, but I probably should ask you what other outdoor activities don't you participate in? Anything you don't do?
So is this me personally or on our trips, Rick?
No, just you personally. Yeah, this get everybody a little bit of sense of who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, my passion is surfing. Don't do as much of it now that I live in the mountains, but we try to get away. And my parents still live in California, so we go back and we surf there. And we actually just got back from Costa Rica a few weeks ago, had a chance to go down there and surf. So surfing is a huge passion. Love winter pursuits too. Love snowboarding and skiing. And we've been getting into backcountry snowboarding, which is really fun here. And then the summertime, I'd have to say probably my favorite passion is fly fishing. Just love fly fishing. And so I've got 2 boys, 14 and 12, and they've really been getting into that as well. And so we mountain bike. We just love being in the outdoors. That's our happy place. Perfect. So we get work and school done, and then we try to play as much as we can.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good life. If we ever get snow out here again, you should come and backcountry snowboard the Sierra backcountry. It's amazing.
You guys have so many beautiful places out there, Rick.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, I would love to come and do more backpacking up there as well, and just all those lakes and the high Sierras. And would love to. Yeah, I've skied at Mammoth, but I've never done any backcountry out there.
No, it's special. We had a good buddy of mine who was kind of pioneered the backcountry scene here, and we did all kinds of trips every springtime. We did not a Trans Sierra, but we did a Mammoth to Yosemite one time. It's been
wow! How long did that take you guys?
It was only about 4 days. It's not that far, but just fantastic, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, pretty fun. It's all open. If we get snow, come on down.
I love it.
And there's good fishing too. There's all kinds of other stuff too. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor adventure biz like you did, or just as a guy?
Just do it. Go for it.
Good. Yeah.
For us, it was really daunting. My wife and I went from teaching, and then I was in international project management, and it would have been easy to go back and get another job in that space. But we really had a chance when I lost my job in 2008, when the whole economy just imploded. We had a chance to stop for a couple months and just reevaluate. And at that time, we just thought, what would we really like to be doing? What is something that we were passionate about, something that will give us a lifestyle that we can take time off and enjoy with our boys and our family? And at that point, we just realized that, hey, sailing was it. We loved sailing. And so at the time I read, there was a quote by Mark Twain where he said, make your vacation your vocation. And just thought, hey, why not? Our best times every year were sailing. So what could we do in that space? And so for us, it's not easy in the beginning trying to start an outdoor business and work in that space and figure it all out. But the rewards are just exponential, and the lifestyle it affords are just beautiful. So we have no regrets. And I think our advice for folks contemplating it is just dive in, give it a shot. You won't regret it.
Yeah, that comes up a lot on this show.
Does it really?
Yeah, that's what the show's about. So we're not that surprising, but it's just everybody says, just jump in, do it like anything else. I think we all have a tendency to do that, those of us that are outdoor active. Just go, right? I've never done it before. All right, we'll figure it out,
I think you're right.
And we know it's worked out for a lot of us. Did you struggle with the business side of it in the beginning, or did you have some of those chops as well, so you lined right up to that? Because that's a unique set of skills.
It is. I was fortunate in that I did international project management. And so I was fairly good at kind of the project management. Had to learn a lot of things. And you really, when you're starting a business, you have to be nimble and adaptable, and you have to be a learner. And so learning like how to build a website, learning how to do the marketing and all those things, that definitely took some time. And it was a slow learning curve. I think we've been pretty blessed. Early on, we found people that really knew how to do marketing and websites and things like that. And so finding the right people was just key. And we really lucked out in that sense.
That's cool. Yeah, that's good. Get some folks around you that have done it. Yeah, good advice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite outdoor gear purchase under $100?
Oh, we spend a big chunk of our disposable income on gear living in the mountains in Colorado. Seems like we're constantly buying gear, Rick.
Yeah.
Probably the best one in the last year or two is my wife found these really cool, they're like Lucy lights, like these kind of collapsible lanterns from REI. And they're basically solar powered. I think they're like $25-$30. And they collapse down flat, and you just accordion expand them. And then they're really cool because on the boat in the evenings, you can hang them up, and there's 3 different brightnesses, hang out in the back of the boat. When you go ashore to have a beach bonfire and grill some lobster on the beach, you can hang them on under a palm tree or something. When you go camping, you can use them. So we have really got our money out of those. We're loving them. So yeah, I think we keep going back and buying more. I think we have 6 or 8 of them now, and they've just been a great purchase.
Those are awesome. Yeah, John Salzinger was the founder. He was on the show he's been on the show a couple times. Empowered is the company. Yeah, those are great. I mean, they fold down flat, right? So they take up no space. Yeah. You can solar charge them. They're just fantastic. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for what you do. Yeah, cool.
They're
Shout out to you, John. Keep it up.
That's right.
And you guys have a special offer for listeners if they want to learn to sail.
Exactly. Yes, we do. We figure you're in a space where you operate, where you've got lots of adventurous folks that would probably love to travel and may want to just test the waters of sailing. And so we would love to offer $500 off on any of our week-long live aboard courses for your listeners.
Wow.
So if that's somebody's listening to this and they think, hey, this sounds amazing, would love to try it, email us and let us know that you heard about us on your podcast, Rick, and then we can take it from there.
Wow, that's very generous. Thank you. That's cool. That's awesome. And is it good? Is there a time limit on it? How's that work?
No, I think I'll have to check with the office manager and just double check on that. We can probably let you know on that. Maybe we can post it or something in the show notes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Yeah, just give me that. Yeah. And then I can mention that at the beginning too or at the end. Yeah, cool. Awesome, man. That's great. Thanks. Maybe I'll take you up on that if I get some time.
Seriously, hey, if you ever want to join us, we'd love to have you aboard.
That's been one of my bucket list things my entire life is to learn to sail and just haven't.
Okay, seriously, Rick, you've got to do it then. It's a game changer. It's amazing. So keep us posted. We'd love to get you on a boat.
Awesome. Sounds good. As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to say or ask of our listeners?
Again, I think the big thing is life is short. We just came out of this pandemic and we've all probably felt just trapped and we've been locked down and we haven't been able to travel and get out there and do some of the things that we're passionate about. I think that the pandemic was a bit of a wake-up call. Just, hey, now's the time. If you have things on your bucket list, dive in, go for it, do it now. And for sailing can really be that. I think it's been off the radar for many people. And I think sailing has really suffered from just an identity crisis. Kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, Rick, people don't really know what sailing is. And yet that's beginning to change. And in the last 10 years, there's all these young couples sailing around the world, having amazing adventures, and they're posting on their YouTube channels and doing video blogging. And it's shown us what's possible out there. And so for your adventurous listeners, if they want to test the waters, we'd love to have them on our boat. And honestly, for most of our people, it's a life-changing experience.
Yeah, boat, and I've been on a lot of fishing boats, which is super fun, and I can't imagine I've been on maybe one sailboat, as I said, but yeah, it's just got to be a great way to travel. So go get it, guys. There's a great deal. Go learn how to sail, man. And if people want to follow up with you, what's the best way to do that?
The best place to start, Rick, is our website, which is nautilussailing.com, and Nautilus is Nautilus, and then sailing, SAILING.com. Some folks get confused. There's two S's there in the middle, the S on Nautilus and the S on sailing. Just make sure you get that in there. And then on Instagram, we're at nautilus.sailing, Facebook, Nautilus Sailing, and YouTube, Nautilus Sailing. We actually have a really neat YouTube channel where we have a lot of videos just from sailing around the world and even some entry level, how to get your feet wet in sailing that might be really interesting for some
of you. Yeah, I was checking
listeners.
some of those out. They're very cool. Well done.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate that.
Cool. Well, we'll link to all that stuff in the show notes. And Tim, I hope to see you on a sailboat sometime soon.
Oh, seriously, Rick, let's get you out there.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or spread the word and tell a friend about the show. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Sayes.